So I'm back on the boulevard. Only one day to go tomorrow, and then fly the following morning. So I 112, probably, possibly, very, very likely. Who knows? I hope not, obviously, but it's probably my final ceremony, because it may not be possible to. Who knows the way the UK is in the next year, or fucking when, what kind of mess it's going to be in, and whether people can travel or what the hell. But it was beautiful. I said in the last video how it came about, joking with Maestro and saying, maybe we should do another one. And he said, you want to? Yeah, let's do it. And of course, Mum had planned it all along. So we had this wonderful ceremony. It was just me and Antonora, and everyone else was gone. And joking about reheating it, which is what in the video that's up, with him concentrating on it when he was reheating it, and I knew he was putting his intentions in it. I was just so looking forward to it, and of course I was right. And it was beautiful. It wasn't super powerful, but it was what I wanted. And what was fascinating about it, I had an incredible lesson from Boben Sana, and it was really Mauritian, but it was pleasant. So it was nicely powerful. No cleaning except no later, but except at the beginning with the trees, because when they came, the Dr. Citos, the tree spirits, the colours were really powerful. But oh fuck it, I wasn't expecting it, because I'm not used to that level of cleaning for a while, and at my level, I haven't had cleaning sort of remotely like that since being really dirty for most of my early ceremonies. Just horrible, the cleaning. It was really powerful. But I put in my intention that, and the ceremony the night before, so they knew that I really need to know that there's nothing like, hidden energy, occultado, left in my body, particularly about the mind, this irritability and super sensitivity to sound, like people on their fucking phones and traveling next to people and their phones are on full volume and they don't listen with earplugs, and it's just irritating as fuck. And part through the cleaning, it changed again and was kind of moved to something different slightly, but the Dr. Citos just said, Steve, you've got to hang on in there. We're really cleaning, like, for what what you're looking for. That's the impression I got. And at one point I kind of got the message in my head, yeah, a little fucking annoying demon again, like the witch, that's been there ages, that affects my sensitivity and causes this negative thinking and the irritation. And that was like, that's it. So I really do believe that I'm totally clean, this time. We'll see. If my skin erupts again, well, fucking hell, I'm in trouble back in the UK, but I don't think so. And then Bobby was with me, and it was beautiful. It was just an absolutely beautiful ceremony. And God, where do you start? She was lying with me and just talking, and then she got up and sat astride me, and she wears, for me, she's extremely beautiful, nymph, dark hair, beautiful, dark, completely black eyes, and she wears this sort of black, dark blue, black leather jacket. And at one point she started to undo her jacket, and I thought she was messing about, but come on, baby, none of that. And she said, no, I've got something to show you. And she opened up her jacket, because we were talking, that's right, I better start there. No, had she said that? No. So we were talking about the reality of perception, and obviously how they portray themselves in a recognizable human form, so humans can relate to them. But obviously, as a spirit energy, that's not what they are. And she was explaining, like she did, about the windows in churches, and where water vibrates with particular frequencies. It said everybody's got their identifying individual frequency, which is one of these cymatic frequencies. And then when she opened her jacket, she said, "Now what do you see?" And there was just a black triangle where her body was. And said, "I'm showing you the real me, in terms of like, this is a view into infinite space. So obviously you can't see me as the spirit energy that I really am." But then she explained about this spiritual vibration that every spirit is, and it's like these cymatics that form in water, and what you see depicted in church windows, because the ancients have known this for millennia. And of course, with my technical background, it was easy to relate to as everything with frequency. And then I think thinking about it the next morning, I kind of, well, because obviously you're under the influence of the medicine, so it's more information as a way to understand it. And she was explaining that the frequency of love, which is obviously, as you know, there's only two pure sides of yin and yang, and one is love on the light side, and the other side is malice, which is the hordes of the darkness which we suffer. And their frequencies want to interrupt the frequency of the individual human spirit, which is why all diseases and all illness of any kind fundamentally is disturbances in your spirit frequency. And of course, from my perspective, knowing about, telecommunications and wavelengths and stuff, the pure sine wave, if you think when it's modulated by AM radio or FM radio, you get modulation on it, which is, what I thought about after she'd explained was the disease comes when the impure harmonics from bad energies interfere with the pure spirit pattern of your pure essence. So they're modulations. So this is why when the cleaning happens with the other spirits of different frequencies, they can effectively cancel that out, which is what the cleaning process in a spirit signal sense is, as far as the vibration goes. And this is what all the Aya cleaning does, to bring your spirit frequency back to as pure as possible without all these infestations and bad harmonics, seeing it in purely energy terms. So it was fascinating. So it was a wonderful lesson. But she explained about the frequencies of love, because I know that why it's so powerful here for cleaning in the middle of the Amazon is because you're close, because they do diminish, like electromagnetic waves do in the real world. They diminish with distance. She said, but accept the frequency of love. It pervades the universe, and it will carry over all distances. And that's why I will always be connected to you, even back in England. Whenever you want to talk to me, you can talk to me. And I will be there. I'll be with you all the time, so you can just meditate on me. If things aren't going well, or at night before you settle down to sleep, do your rapé, meditate on me. And it's the same with Mama. She's always going to be there to talk to. And of course, knowing because of my experience in Cali that Mama spoke to me, and she confirmed it when she said in the previous ceremonies, she said, "Remember my conversation with you in Cali." And that's never happened to me before. I've never been able to have the spirits talk to me that I was aware of. I thought it was just like my imagination, but that was like two halves from my head. And I was in a really low space, wondering about what to do, and I wanted to come back. I was thinking about money, because it was a lot easier to go straight to England. And then Mama was like, "I need you back with Antonov before you go back to England." And I was like, Mama, I don't want to go, because it's fucking pain in the ass, the travel and the bloody ferry, and it's a nightmare, and it's more money, and it's so much easier just to go straight from here, that kind of thing. But after when I thought about it, I did want to come back, and then I got the cheap flight for 80 quid, and I thought, well, the next day I thought I wouldn't have peace of mind, because if my skin kicked off again, if I'd been to Antonov and had a last cleaning and my skin kicked off back in England, I'd have tried everything that I possibly could, and there's nothing I could do about it. And of course I was still in the mentality that from the previous visit, No, so when I first, got there, we found out. Well, they said, Papa Julio said, no, it's an incurable blood disease. But all that chat about me staying with Antonov was, in retrospect, that was to alleviate my anxiety for that ceremony. Because it's impossible to know how they're really working. And then it was sort of to and fro, and then the reality of the real world, and me talking to Mama to the next ceremony saying, look, Mama, it's not that simple, and I just cannot be a burden on anybody, and I wouldn't do it to Antonin, because obviously there's major concerns in the real world about documentation. If something happened to me, he'd be responsible for my body, or if I died of old age, with the authorities and everything, and it's not a burden I'm prepared to give to him. And also there'd be nothing to do, without guests there. We'd get the web page up and all that sort of stuff, but who knows how long it would take. There wasn't enough. I didn't have enough money to actually build the Maloka, or only a Tambo for me, and put the rest towards the Maloka, and then hopefully get a web page up, get a page up on iAdvisors.org, which we're still going to do anyway. When I get back, I'll still get a web page up for him. And then I'll do the videos for clients still. But how that pans out, obviously that's just the future and it's unknown. But so back to the ceremony. It was beautiful because everybody appeared at some point that I wanted to say bye to in the night before, which never happened because there was just no connection with anybody. See how loud the Peruvians are. And they're 10 meters away all chatting. And so everybody appeared, and then Peter Gorman spoke to me for about 20 minutes, and he kind of recounted, the various parts of my journey, and he said, Steve, it's been fascinating watching your journey and what Mama put you through in the condensed 4.5 years, because she knew that you'd make it, although you didn't. I fucking felt like didn't many times. He said, what you suffered. He said, but she needed you to go through those witch hexes and go through all the horrors, so you had absolute first-hand experience of what it's actually like and what the dark side is capable of, so that you have information for your book, which is timed in the light of the Epstein file releases, where people are starting to put the pieces together that there's, behind what's really going on. It's not just about human corruption. Those people that can see, like the Candace Owens and people like that know it's a spiritual thing, which is at the root of it all, dark spirituality, all of the Masonic connections and the corruption of worldwide mafia organizations, that they're all part of that, and every government's involved. There's people in every government, cults, churches, religions, spiritual groups that are corrupt, all money laundering, everything else. And it's all coming out. There's so many people looking into the Epstein files, and of course the horrors of it. So basically, it was about the release of the Epstein files, and then Mama saying, there will be more and more people that are realizing what's really going on and starting to look deeper at the actual cause for those that are of that mindset, that are spiritually awakening. So, and Mama saying, I'll be trying to feed the right people with the information for your book. She said, because I wanted you to write that book about the dark side, the no-nonsense side of it, and the horrific side of what ayahuasca, spirituality and shamanism really is. For those people who think, it's just all come to ayahuasca. But if you want to know what shamanism is all about, what the true nature of it, because they're exorcists, as I've said before. We fight demons, we fight witches, and remove these dark energies, which is a spiritual phenomenon. And it's time for people to not be afraid of that and to face it toward a mass spiritual awakening that will either happen or it won't. And if it doesn't, the human race is enslaved, So it was a fascinating story, I'm saying, God, you suffer with these witch hexes and stuff. And it was horrific, the problems I had, and just the mental pressure, and just not knowing what the hell I was doing in my future and what the hell it was going to end, and the continuous skin problems that just drove me fucking nuts. Nearly broke my mind. That witch hex for 14 months, and she was powerful. But it was wonderful, because then even Papa Julio had a few words, not a lot, because I spoke to him in the previous ceremony, but he said to me, when you go back and you're in the thick of it, you've got to not give up, because we're basically sending you back out as the spiritual warrior that you are. It's your job to continue to fight. He said, and it's an honor to die fighting the dark side. So it was just wonderful. It really was. So I spoke to my dog Carla. So I got, it's just like the ceremony the night before when it was just me, Bob and San, and my dog. That's my family in the spiritual world. And then Mama, Peter Gorman, Mapacho spoke to me, and I thank them all for all the work that they've done because Mapacho was wonderful to me, especially when I had we got a witch attack one night in ceremony. They were attacking Darlin, and it was a hell of a fight. It was just chaos, fucking frogs, frog noise everywhere that were in the spirit world with just demons to just create total noise and disruption. And I got stabbed through the back with a spine lying on my mat. Stabbed through the back, which caused a really big pain in my stomach. I'm not sure I spoke. Yeah, I must have put it in the video. And then Mapacho was talking to me then, saying, "Well, this is a really good shaman lesson for you, Steve, in a battle." He said, "Oh, you've got the spine." He said, "Right, you've got a spine in your stomach now." He said, "I'm going to help you dissolve it." He said, and that's when he was saying, "Right, I want you to smoke, breathe in Mapacho, and then alternate drink of water." And then that didn't quite work. He said, "I'll be dissolving it in your stomach in the spiritual world. It's for you to vomit it out." But it took a bit more than that. And then he said, "Right, okay, you're gonna have to smoke a whole Mapacho, just one of the big Mapachos. Smoke the whole thing, breathe it in, then a whole glass of water." And then that worked. I vomited it back up, and then I got my energy back, because spines can do lots of things, obviously make you ill, but a lot of the time they're designed to just drain you, and you can feel it. It's under the ayahuasca, you're just feeling like, oh fuck, I've got no energy, I've got to lie down, oh god, I haven't got any energy to move. And he said, keep fighting until you get rid of it. You gotta sit up and keep launching your spear and your stars, all that stuff. So he's been wonderful to me, and he's just such a lovely spirit. So it was really nice to talk to him. And so all of them together, it was Papa Julio, Peter Gorman, Mama Ayahuasca, of course. She had a really good chat with Mum. I don't remember most of it, but she was just wonderful again, reiterating what she'd put me through and why. And then this chat from Peter Gorman going through a lot of the stages of my journey. And he said it's been incredible to watch you suffer the way you did, but actually still come through despite everything that was thrown at you. So Mama really put you through the ringer, but she knew you'd make it, and that's what it's all been about. And the whole journey was to bring you to this point. And then Mama just saying, "Steve, you're such a bright light, and although there's many out there that are like you, in Ina being one of them, the strong spirits," she said, "but you're a very, very bright light." And then Bobby saying, "And now, Steve, the frequency of love, just keep that open at all times so that you're connected to me and Mama." And she said, and then Maestro gave me a phenomenal arcana that night, and he called all of his trees, but it was really powerful after I'd been cleaned. But he also sang calling in his chants, all the trees just chanting with this arcana. But he called Boa Negra and Gasolina Mamai. So it's part of my arcana. So I've incorporated them into my orations when I do my orations in the morning. I do that every day. I never miss it, to keep that connection, and it's really important. So. And then Bobby saying, so now, where you used to, Mama had told you about thinking of yourself as a bubble, to just float through it all but you had minimal protection back then. She said, now you can think of it, this arcana is just your big egg around you, and then the space between you, incorporating you to the wall of the arcana, you could maintain the love frequency, but with the arcana from the outside, demons and witches can't see you. You're invisible to them. So you're super protected. So it was just wonderful. And then she said, you can think of being inside my tree. Just come inside the tree, and the bark on the outside is the arcana, and that's the protection, and you're inside the tree with me. So it was a beautiful ceremony. And then Giddy later on, Mama, when my dog was there, Carla, because I've spoken to Carla before, and she's told me about what she gets up to in the spirit world. She said, she's capable of sort of like transforming into a werewolf to attack demons and stuff. And Mama said to me, I was in stitches. Mama said to me, She said, "Do you want to actually meet, rather than the mental image of your old dog that you've got? Do you want to see what Carla really is really like more in a spiritual essence?" And I just joked. I said, "Fucking no thanks." I said, "She's probably a fucking great big werewolf, fucking scare the shit out of you." And I was just cracked up, because I had the giddy fit, and I did at Lighthouse when all my Dieta energies got fixed. So I was in stitches in this ceremony, and it was just wonderful. We were laughing fits, and me and telling Maestro stuff. And Maestro said he saw his mother that night. He saw a spirit come across the grass. Ian will know, just where the grass is, where the volleyball court is now. He said there was just a spirit. I didn't quite understand what he's told me that night, because I didn't get his Spanish. But he was talking about the spirit, something like, "Oh, your mother wants to talk to you." And then he spoke to his mother, because she only passed last year, not long ago, because he messaged me about it when he was upset. Said he was crying a lot when his mother died. So, but we had a laugh. I had to go up and go to the bog. I said to Maestro, because I was farting a lot, but it was just, I said, "No, Mama told me," he said, for the bulk of the ceremony, Steve, we turned all of that food into gas for you, so you're not up and down with diarrhea or vomiting, so you can enjoy the ceremony. But toward like 3/4 of the way through, I was joking. I said, Mama's a liar. I fucking, I needed to go. But it was just a brief bit of diarrhea, and I felt great afterwards. And it tailed off quite nicely. It wasn't, really powerful. It was just right. But at the height of it, both me and Maestro were like, "Ooh, maldición, Maestro, fuck." And we were laughing. It was just a wonderful ceremony for just me and him, because we were so close. It was a wonderful ceremony, it really was. So a great end, and of course that's what I thought I was going to have the night before, and it didn't, which is what made it even better. When we had this unexpected ceremony, and it was just a wonderful way to leave. So I was chuffed to bits, and I've just been smiling ever since. And just having that witch removed, it's just such a positive outlook, and I'm so relaxed for the first time since I was a child. Having that stress witch removed, that's just been fucking sucking like all of the bad energies do. They just feed off your spiritual energy and drain you. It's a horrible fucking thing, It really is. But once you're clean, so in principle, once you're clean, and with the arcana that I've got, in principle, unless there's some nasty trickery where you get tricked into getting involved, like I did in Asia with somebody that's infected. Obviously, sexual energies are really powerful, because anything done through willingness, even if it's eating or drinking something that's been hexed, effectively that's, as far as the dark side is concerned, you've taken it willingly, even if it's by deception. It's horrible. Maestro's fallen foul of that in his day, having coffee spiked with a hex and little fucking maggot things from the river that someone dropped in his coffee when he wasn't looking in a cafe years and years ago, that broke out in all the maggots coming out. And he had to drink gasoline through the direction of Papahula. He had to drink drops of gasoline and vomit it out, and then all the fucking they're a particular type of maggots. And he told me what plant they're on ages ago. When I first met him, actually, that's one of the first stories he ever told me, over a year ago when I first met him at Lighthouse. He was so chatty. He was just telling me these, so I couldn't understand most of them, but that was one of them. He was talking about witch hexes and all the shit that you see. It's just, it's a fascinating world, and it's wonderful without the shamans. It's so important that this information is retained in all of the cultures. It really is, because historically that's what the dark side's always trying to do with the empire buildings, is bump off all the leaders of communities and the shamans specifically, so that the old knowledge is lost and people don't have any defense against the dark side. That's always been the aim. They did the same with the Aborigines, the North Americans, Indians, all over. That's the way it's always been. But in the Amazon, which is highly protected by Mama and the mosquitoes, people haven't ventured much in there, and it's huge, so there's always going to be communities, we hope. But it's really important, especially the lineage of Antenor with Papa Julio in the spirit world, because he was the most powerful shaman in the area, if not the whole of this area of Iquitos, everybody respected him as the most powerful shaman that they'd ever known, and he was special. That whole thing about just when he was alive, just being able to put his hand on someone's head and know what was wrong with them. You've got kidney stones, or something like that. You know, he was very, very gifted, naturally gifted shaman, Papa Julio. And of course, directing Antenor with the ailments and being able to come into his body and speak with everybody, you know, he's very different in your mind. He's just like a nice spirit, just chatting. But when he comes into the ceremony, especially if you're going through a cleaning phase and you're in a state of anxiety, and Papa Julio, his energies, man, sometimes when he arrives, his energies are like, oh, fucking hell. If you're in a state of anxiety, the energies, it just amplifies it because of the cleaning, because he comes to blow, you know, his energies, clean everyone in the ceremony. And Antenor brings him every time. Super powerful. And so he called Peter Gorman as well, but I'd already spoken with Peter Gorman before he called him in my head. So I'm well set as best as can be, and just hope that you know, just the normal stresses and strains of every human being in this world at the moment, with, you know, especially going back with jobs and job hunting and stuff. But I've got a good start. I've got the spare room at my brother's, and it'd be nice to see them. But obviously the temperature is only about fucking 8 degrees in London at the moment. So flying into Heathrow and getting off that plane, I got my jacket and everything. It's gonna, and then get a car the next day and drive down to Cornwall, and then fucking meet up with Joe at some point, and hopefully just have enough money to stay a bit relaxed for the first month at least. And it's my brother's 75th, so on the 25th, so that's next week. So it'd be nice to be there for his 75th birthday. Because at one point, after the first ceremony, when they was talking about me, Papa Julio and Mama saying they want me, you know, he can't go back, he's going to die, you know, if he goes back there. It's like, fuck, you know, I was, luckily I didn't write it the next day, but I was actually thinking, fuck, I'm going to have to write a last letter to my brother saying, this is really, this is horrendous, I'm sorry, but I'm never going to see you again. You know, so, but then, obviously everything changed, everything's done for a reason, and last night was the culmination of it. So it was a beautiful way to end. So, just walking around Iquitos for today and tomorrow, try and get some sun, which it's overcast at the moment, that's good, I don't want to burn. I get a bit of colour to go back with. And I've got more brilliantine and sulphur just to continue, just give me that protection for my dry skin while everything's still healing. Bobby said to me this morning when I was meditating, he said, just relax today, Steve. We're still working, we're always working on you, always have been, always working on you energetically, but you know, keep up the brilliantine. So I bought about 8 bottles in Herrera yesterday to take back with me, so I can just have that, because it's just a really nice oil. It's the best skin, it's better than any cream I've ever, none of them ever worked. I've had loads of creams in my time, tried fucking everything with my skin, but the brilliantine is just wonderful, and it smells nice, so it's, you know, it's not like some of the things I've been through, like having 2 days of fucking mechanic oil, stinky mechanic oil all over my body, fucking blacked up. That was fucking horrible for 48 hours. Some of the things I've gone through, just looking back on it, have just been fucking still fucking makes me crack up. The pitcherina, bashing all those berries up and fucking putting that all over me in bright orange. I was like, for fuck's sake, what I've had to go through with everything that molested me, and get them out, get it all out and get it fixed, and 4.5 years. Fucking crazy fucking journey, but what a privilege it's been. In retrospect, I can laugh about it now. Fuck, it wasn't funny at the time. Fucking hell. And of course most of it's in my book, and of course some of the things that I've seen happen to other people, horrendous too. You know, the most notable, obviously Ina was pretty bad, but fucking hell, that poor girl from Bosnia, the American, oh fuck, seeing in my vision, in my ceremony, when they were in their other one, holy fuck, when that witch burst out of her and let 2 demons loose that were running around the fucking camp, making the dogs bark and the women scream. And then Papa Julio, when we all heard the scream, Papa Julio was there, and he was telling Maestro, oh, malo, es malo ese vivo.
Oh, bevi medicina. Come hechizo di bruja.
It's like, fuck. And then I saw it explode out of her. It's like, and then when I spoke to her, and her vision was horrendous. The witch controlling her mind made her show her fingers being cut off at the knuckles, and then to get out of the suffering made her think she just wanted to die, but by burning to death and then getting set fire to in her vision. I mean, this is fucking horrendous. Fucking horrendous. That's why she was screaming in the ceremony for water, to get water thrown over, to put the fire out. Fuck. Can't imagine that. Especially. I mean, she didn't have a lot of. I think she'd done about 12 ceremonies, but not here. She'd done those. Like many people, it's not the same. There's nothing. Ayahuasca's not the same in other countries as it is in the middle of the Amazon, in Mama's back garden. It's just not. It's not as strong, and it's just not the same. It's still good for that's all you can get, of course, but you've got to have a good shaman. It's all about the shaman as well, and that's why Antonio is just absolutely. He was so powerful in the first ceremony. Maestro was so powerful. Gracias, Señor. So it was wonderful. So it'll be sad to go, of course, but we've got to stay positive that you get a job, and then maybe one day, if Joe's in a position, because Joe needs to come back here too, deal with his social anxiety once and for all. But it's going to be very difficult for Joe. The levels of anxiety and fear that you can go through, it can be crippling. That's the poor guy who owns that shop. He's a very sick guy. He's got some kind of bipolar. It's drugs again. So anyway, I'll knock this off and go for a walk.